All right. Welcome to the Morningstar live show. Leanna just finished the book like half an hour ago. Alex / Severos.
Less than half an hour ago.
Oh, less than half an hour ago.
At least you read it before.
Yeah. It's true. I think it was a reread for all of us. And yeah, we're going to
I was literally sitting in a chair that was next to like my coffee maker that has like a clock on it, and like the coffee maker is like a little bit behind me, so I would be reading, and then I would look at the clock and I go fuck, keep reading. I look at the clock and go fuck, keep reading.
Well, if you are in the chat and you've read the book, spoiler free, let us know how you did, and we'll talk about that, and we'll just go around. I guess we'll start briefly spoiler free, how we felt about reading this, then we'll just dig into all the events. I don't really have a plan of attack here, so we're just going to talk about this book.
How undaro of you.
Jeez.
No, I feel like Alex actually had a plan, like going through like the plot of the book last time. It's like
that's because I just take notes, so I was just trying to.
Plus, when in doubt, chronologically is like a good, just like default.
Yep.
Well, hi Matt, hi Urza.
No, I don't generally have a plan ever.
I have my library copy, so it's easier to like thumb through. This book is significantly larger than the other two. That's another thing.
I find that I feel like usually, I guess, I could actually like pull statistics, but I feel like in trilogies, the third book is almost always the longest because the author always underestimates how much they've saved for the end and how many plot threads they need to tie off and how much concluding
or how much extra stuff they want to add to the story.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't do this yet.
Or again, like because it's the end for them, so they're gonna like want to spend more time doing the final goodbyes and the final speeches and the final chance to tell you, the reader, the things, and you're just like, okay, like wrap it up.
Seems like Pierce is doing what the Robin Hobb route, where Robin Hobb finishes with Assassin's Quest. It was like, this book is now the bare minimum page count, except for the Dragon books, where every book is this long now.
Well, but the Dragon books in Robin Hobb, it was supposed to be a duology, and then it got split into 4. So like those were massive books.
So there you go.
Yeah, I sometimes feel like reading like conclusions of series that like I want them to start playing the Oscar music, where I'm like, okay, like.
And you could tell that like he didn't know that he was going to explore the next part because this has an epilogue, and like I kind of wish that it was gone. Like I don't need the epilogue. I'm normally not that person who's like, I don't like prologues or epilogues. I'm normally like, whatever, it's another chapter. But here I was like, the last line of the last chapter is actually really nice, and I kind of wish I didn't have an epilogue.
Yeah.
Well, you could just not read the epilogue.
That's true. I thought about it. I did put in, but I figure, we're here, wanted to make an opinion. So.
There's actually because you're saying you don't want to read the epilogue because because there actually is more, and the epilogue makes it seem like there won't be, because like there's a different duology, or I guess it's a trilogy, where I always say don't read the epilogue because the first one works so well as a standalone, and if you don't read the epilogue where it's like actually darkness is brewing, then you're like, it's just a standalone, everything's wrapped up, it's over, the second one sucks, so it's just like, don't read the epilogue.
Yeah, I guess, for me the epilogue just didn't add anything, and I really like the last line of the book. I was just like, oh, that's just such a fun thing, especially when there's more, so you can explore more. I know at the time he didn't have these ideas to keep going, so it's different. Yeah. So I guess on reread, I will go around starting with Leanna. How did you like it more, the same, less? I don't know.
I think I figured out why I, unlike almost everyone else, like I don't really like Morningstar that much. Like I still give it 5 stars, but people are always like, this is their favorite, and like they really love it. And I was always like, I kind of struggled with it after Golden Sun. And it wraps up, and there's like a lot of like cool stuff that happens. So I still give it 5 stars. But like I low-key like it the least. Now that I've like Red Rising a little bit better, I'm like, I kind of think Morningstar is my least favorite.
All right. And you, Alex?
I loved it all over again. Honestly, I feel like I've loved all 3 of them a little bit more on a reread, and maybe that's just because I don't know. Like the cool parts were still awesome to read, and even though they weren't unexpected this time around, there were a couple of times where I did kind of forget certain things that happened. So I was like, oh yeah, that's really cool. I forgot about this part. Obviously the big moments like character deaths or big epic moments, like of course it's not shocking this time around, but it's still really well written and well done. So it still hits pretty hard, and I think I appreciate all the setup this time around, or like knowing where some of these characters end up or are going. So it was a lot of fun, honestly, this time around.
Nice. I think somehow I ended up on reread. Red Rising, I think, was the most fun for me on reread. But I do think Morningstar it has all the elements I like Pierce Brown doing in his works. And
Yeah.
I think in some ways, like you said, it doesn't really matter that I know where we're going or the signposts of like the big reveals or whatever. But I do remember on my first read how devastated I was in certain moments, and that
Yeah.
just does not happen on reread as strong.
Oh,
You have
sure.
other things. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's not necessarily the book's fault. It's just like normally the stuff I like to reread gets enhanced on reread significantly more. And it actually has me really excited for Iron Gold and Dark Age, because I'm like, oh, but those ones I actually know are going to be way more enhanced by me knowing their project. And also it's more character focused and character interaction based, which is like, this is more of an action plot twisty thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. Matt liked this one more than the other two. Yeah, and I'm with you, Matt. We're all by ourselves, but
How dare.
It's just not possible.
It's also
well, don't worry, Alan likes it with you guys.
It's okay. Matt spelled Golden Sun wrong, so he's talking about a different book.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
not in this.
That's the issue.
I
He
think I
read the
said
wrong
this for one of the previous chats that like I'm pretty sure, like I'm 99% sure that I haven't read these books since reading Dark Age. This is my first time reading them since then. So like without spoilers for the later books, there are characters, you know, obviously from beyond just our main characters that are like side characters that are mentioned or that are like kind of important in certain scenes, but that like there are things that happen with those characters in Dark Age that had me like paying so much more attention to them, because like they're not actually that important necessarily in Morningstar. Like they're around, and like I low key when I got to Dark Age and things happened, I was like, who's that? Were they in it before?
I feel like I know exactly
like,
who you're talking about.
Yeah, and now every time that character was in a scene, I kind of wanted to cry every time that character was in a scene, because I was like, I know what happens to you.
Yeah.
You guys will definitely have to remind me when we get to Dark Age, because I didn't have strong enough memories from Dark Age to even keep track of that type of stuff. So
I'll write something in the private chat. How about that?
Are we ready to talk about Morningstar spoilers? Is there anyone that?
No, this is for what you were referring to.
Oh yeah,
no, I know. I'm just saying, but we were saying that we weren't doing spoilers yet from Morningstar.
I think we can do spoilers now, which I think I'm supposed to say, Alan, you're allowed to type spoilers now, or whatever you wanted to do, Alan. Don't derail the comment section too much.
Wait, he has to raise his hand? What?
I don't.
Alan, I can't see you. Is your hand up? Raise both hands. All right, we're good. He's got them both up. Keep them up.
So TGI Bride says I definitely liked all of them more in reread, but unlike Leanna, Red Rising is still my least favorite. I just think Red Rising is very comfortable to me. So it's not like it's actually like that amazing. It's just that it's that tropiness. Like it's Battle Royale. It's just that type of story, and it gets it done.
Morningstar is doing a lot of different things.
Yeah, and
it's
really
the first time
like
that they're really like going all over the like space. Golden Sun was like, oh, space battles, but then I was like, oh, we're just like in an academy.
I like seeing the Outer Rim for the first time.
Yeah. No, that was really cool. So I actually decided, because it's the glaring part near the end where he's like, are you a method actor, Darrow? Like, you know what's happening right now.
Yeah, like I don't mind a POV withholding information, but I do kind of mind them straight up lying.
When everyone in the scene acts like it's literally happening, and then they're like, no, this is all a plan, idiots. But like, how was I supposed to know that? I'm in your head and I don't know what's happening.
But it's like stuff like that where like I wish I could reread that scene, because there are other books that do something like that, where when you reread it, you realize there's a double meaning to everything being said, and we're like, oh, like actually rereading it, this does check out with like the other thing. And I think it could have been written where Darrow said a lot of dramatic stuff, but if you know that he's in on it, it would still work. And on a reread, you'd be like, oh, so clever. But no, he's straight lying.
No, he's straight up lying to himself. Maybe it's
I do remember being mad at Pierce Brown, though. Like, when I first read, like, that whole scene with Cassius and Severo, like, on the docking station, I was just like, seriously? I was like, okay, this has to be a plan, because otherwise they're literally just dead. Like, the whole cast is just going to die right now if this isn't a setup.
Well, the reason I thought it was a setup the first time was because we were like upset that Severo was dead, but we didn't linger on it. And I was like, if Severo was really dead, there would be like 10 pages lamenting Severo. But because we were like, he's dead, chuck him in a box, let's go. I was like, no, he's not dead. I bet he's not dead. I wasn't sure they were in on a plan, but I was like, just because he got shot and seems dead, like he might actually like live.
I
I
think
do
Pierce
ag-
Brown just really wanted that like big epic like WTF moment and just was like, I don't care that we're supposed to be in Dara's head right now. Like I'm doing it anyway. It doesn't
No,
matter.
it's definitely like the sword scene reveal in Golden Sun. He just wanted to do something like that again, although that one's
Yeah.
a little less bad. But this time it was, I don't think I was annoyed. I was just really confused because I'm like, Darrow, I remember what happens here. Why don't you remember what happens here?
No, but like that's why I liked the sword, the like knowing how to duel in Golden Sun better, because if you do reread it, everything he says does still check out with him knowing how to duel, but he's just like not telling you. But he never says anything that contradicts that. He's never like, I don't know how to duel. Like he doesn't think that ever. He's just like, no comment. So like it still works. Whereas here you're like, no, this doesn't work.
I mean, I guess like we should have known, and I think I said this the first time I reviewed it, is like I should have known that it was a setup the whole time, but the way it's written, it's like he's still trying to trick you that it's actually happening. But he clearly talks to Cassius right before and then gives him a holotape, and then like the scene ends, and the next scene is that happening. I'm like, there's gotta like what? Like how are you just gonna hide all this shit from me when we should know like you should at least know that he's planning something.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
also,
there's like
there
a small hint where like they talk about the plan and it's like the craziest plan they've ever had, and then we just like don't ever say what the plan is.
Yeah.
Like there's like a one line like that before.
And I mean, I do think, like you were saying, Leanna, there are moments where they could have still had the drama. Like, the jackal was not supposed to be there. That is a true moment of fear that Darrow could have had realistically.
Shit.
Like, instead of him being melodramatic in a box where no one's looking at him, it's like, you don't need to have your poker face on right now.
Well,
like,
but even before that, when like Cassius supposedly has killed Severo and we're upset about it, like the way that it's phrased, there's just no way that it means that Darrow knows that it's fake. But he could have phrased it where Darrow is thinking that it's hard to look at Severo appearing to be dead, because even if you know it's fake, it would be hard to look at that. Yeah. And so he wouldn't think to himself, I know this is fake, but that he would think to himself something where it's phrased in that way where he's being on a technicality is like, it's really hard looking at this like body and like I can't, like something where it's phrased where like there's like a double meaning and you'd be like, ah.
I do forgive it for my first reading time because the reveal was fun enough for me that I didn't care about the technicalities. I'm on reread, I'm like, this is lazy. I don't love it. Like on reread.
Well, you don't really notice it the first time through because you don't know that until you go back to look like, wait, did he say?
Mm-hmm.
Like first time
I love
through,
everything
you're just turning
after
the pages
scene,
so
though.
fast to figure out what's going on because the endings of his books are really good.
Yeah, like it's total bullshit. I think we agree with that. But what happens afterwards is I love it so much that I don't care. Like the fact that he like nods at Cassius and then starts howling. I'm just like, fuck yes. Like let's just do it. I don't care.
But then I also love that like there's a chapter that ends on Adrius laughing, and you're like, dun dun dun, and then the next chapter he's like still laughing, and I'm just like, he's so scary.
I hate Adrius so much. Yep.
He's such a good character though.
The duel thing does not bother me, Alan, at all. It actually makes sense on reread, which I know you haven't gotten to reread Golden Sun, but it actually works on reread.
I mean, I think we're still giving him a bit of a pass on that.
It's because it's fun. Yes, because it's
fun. But I'm saying, like, he, at least with that one, like, it was still not lying to us. Like, it's
not
like,
lying because there's a time skip, right? So, like, we don't see everything that he did in that time period. But the fact that he's mid-duel and he's just like, just kidding. I trained with the best warrior ever.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's never a scene before it where he's thinking to himself, I don't know how to duel, and I'm so scared to be dueling Cassius because I don't know what I'm doing. And then is like, just kidding. Like, that's lying. And that's what happened in Morningstar.
Yeah, Morningstar, he's straight up in denial in his brain. I don't really know what's happening.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe he maybe he got too real. He went too deep in the method acting that he actually thought it was happening.
I think we should let it go, Alan. I think it's fine. It's a fun time. It's fine.
Alan, you like freaking Sebastian de Castell, okay? I like those books too, but damn, man, like pick your battles. Because he just pulls shit left and right that makes no sense. Oh, look, there's literally an army across the mountain. Where do they come from? I don't know. They were here. And now we win.
And Alan was trying to tell me that I shouldn't say trying to tell me because that's your opinion, that he doesn't like the new books as much as the original trilogy, and you're allowed to hold this view. But the new books don't have this problem because you have multiple POVs. So you don't have to have Darrow lying to you because he's like, oh, I'll just do a different POV.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I also just think Darrow is lying to himself more in the next series, like internally. Like,
yeah.
I mean, think he's in a different place.
I think I fall on it's stupid. You're in his head. Like this makes no sense from a literal perspective, but also it's just so much fun to read that it's exciting and fun, and I don't care.
Whereas, it's been 15 minutes and we're at First Law. There is a scene where
naturally we
like
go from the ending of the book directly to First Law. Then we'll go to the
This is
front
how
of the
all
book.
of the best live shows are
Yes.
done. Continue.
This is the order. This is the agenda. But I won't, again,
Ending
for anyone
First
who's
Law
not read First
beginning.
Law, like I won't say who or what this is. But there is a scene in the First Law that the first time you read it, you think something is happening, and then that's not what's happening. And by the end of the scene, you know that it's definitely not what you thought it was. But if you go and reread it, it makes sense. Like that, like the POV you're in was never lying to you. They were just phrasing things in a way that was very leading, and you like were making assumptions that the author knew you would make, but actually, like, he's never lied to you.
Also, my cat's very angry that my partner's not home tonight, so any cat sounds are my fault, probably.
Oh, untrue, because Kaz has decided to open the closet any chance she gets. So,
all right, so let's go back to the beginning of the book, and then we'll circle
beginning of the
back.
book, because part 1 is pretty much one of the best book openers I've read.
They caught me totally off guard because I was not expecting. Like, because you end on Golden Sun with.
But you've read it before, Alex. How are you not expecting?
Listen, I'm talking about the first time I read it. When I first read Golden Sun, and you end on the Red Wedding, and everyone's dying around you, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh yeah, Darrow's just been being tortured for like 10 months, and he's naked in a middle of a table. Like that whole thing was just.
But I also like that reveal because he doesn't know he's in a table. He just thinks he's in like a solitary cell, which is what you would think, and the like it's just like some kind of extra level of messed up that people have been like having dinner over you like this whole time. That if you heard voices, it wasn't like fellow prisoners, it wasn't guards, it was like people having brunch. Like,
and that even Cassius is just like, put a towel on him, or like let me give him a cloak, and they're all laughing at him. He's just like, ugh. He's like, why? He's like, even I'm below this. What is this?
I kind of wonder. This is. I'm not saying this is definitely what happened, but I kind of wonder if that was inspired by Rocky Horror Picture Show. Because Eddie is in the table in Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I wonder if Pierce Brown was like that, but serious.
I mean, he does that a lot. Like, he obviously like wears his inspirations on his sleeves. So.
Bye, Felicia.
God. I still can't get over the fact that that's in this book. Like,
I don't think I noticed it the first time. I was just like, there is a gold who's Felicia Ow someone, and then we said goodbye.
Felicia Ow Augustus. The first time I read that, I literally stopped and I said, are you kidding me? You put that in this book?
Yeah. But no, to Matt's point, what I also liked about this part is you get really good introspection with Darrow. Like, he's in his head. I mean, he only has himself to like think with, and he's like dealing with a lot. And then also you have the action of the escape, but then you do like pretty quickly, you get to have a moment of rest. Like, all of that is like so well balanced to me in a way that I think both Red Rising and Golden Sun haven't been up to this point. And I'm just like, yes.
And because you're still in the beginning of the book, so you don't exactly know where you're at, then you're kind of just as disoriented as Darrow is when he's being pulled out of the box, because you're both kind of like, I don't know what's happening or where we are. I don't even know if you're actually here to rescue me. Like, you like, it helps that the readers also like just started the book and is like, huh? What's happening?
Yeah.
And we
like,
get to see crazy Adrius and how he treats his pink, that he's like, literally shoot me in the face. She's just like, I'm sorry. Like, gives him the gun. That poor guy.
And like, I think the way that I got attached to Trig, even though I knew Trig wouldn't make it, like, I thought that was just such good like character introduction.
Yeah.
Trig is the one that says nut to butt, sir.
Yes, he does.
It was such a good character intro for them because, you know, they're there briefly. Trig obviously meets his demise quickly because Aja shows up, but like that whole like heist like scene is just super cool. And of course, Darrow messes it up because he wants to save Victra. And
but we have to.
He traded Trig for Victra,
which is a good choice, to be fair. But
yeah, I need Victra to like this book, if I'm honest. Victra is like 50% of why I like this book.
Yeah. But of course, like Darrow, again, thinking he can do whatever he wants, starts a fight when he's clearly not ready for it, and then kind of puts them in shit. And he's just like, sorry. He's like, I got carried away. Like, yeah, now you guys are going to die.
Aiden, I don't understand this take. I can appreciate Aja, but she is one of my most
Like,
hated villains.
Unless you mean it the way you mean it when I say that I like Adrius, because I just think he's so well written that he's like one of the best villains I've read. But I mean,
She's a cool character. I mean, she could stand on a sword though.
I would want to play her in like a video game where like, because she has all the powers and she's really cool, but she
gets a cool ass entrance too. When like they're on the bridge fighting everybody off, and all of a sudden it's just like, and then Aja shows up. It's just like fucking like anime entrance.
No, truly, every time it's like, and like I think I was fine with Aja until Ragnar, and then I'm just a mess. And every time I'm unprepared.
Of course, that was gonna happen though.
I know it doesn't matter if of course it's going to happen. It still sucks because it could have been the other way. You could have rolled the dice and it goes the other way. They're both really good.
I cried a little bit the first time. This time around, I was like, oh, yeah, this is when he dies. That sucks.
Yeah, and then we just get stuck with his sister, who is fine. I don't have many opinions about Sephi.
Sephi, I love the joke about her comms being really loud, and they're like, Sephi the quiet. So much for that. She's like blasting their ears out with the comms.
Aja is a definition of showing, don't tell, because like we know she's a badass just because of every scene she's in. Like, I don't think we ever really get to like have a conversation with her that's more than just the villain monologue before a fight scene. Like, but
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
she's just there to kill people and be evil.
Yes. Well, and like I mean, I guess at the end of the book, you do really see her loyalty and love for the Sovereign, which like has interesting parallels when I remember parts of like what happens in Iron Gold and Dark Age, the idea that they were the young ones who took over for a new day, and this was her core group that did that, and maybe the foreshadowing of future downfalls. And it's just
that was this book, Morningstar over and over says death begets death begets death. You got to break this. You got to change the paradigm. I don't know how many times people said paradigm. Someone should do a control F for how many times paradigm is in the book.
Might have only been 3 times, but I think that's still a little too many.
Oh, more than 3.
Oh, okay.
Because Darrow isn't even the only one that says it. Everyone in this universe likes the word paradigm. Even
I know Mustang sang it at least once. Aiden says, I was so mad after Ragnar died, I had to look up and spoil myself to make sure Aja died, which is why I appreciate her more. She's the definition of you don't trust that she's dead till you see the body, truly.
I mean there was no way in that scene that she was dead. Because she kills Ragnar and then like falls into like a pit or like off a cliff.
Know that
like, she's obviously not dead.
Yeah, she's not dead the same way Severa's not dead. You're like, it would be a bigger deal. The story would halt to like have that be a moment.
Darrow would have had like a 30-page internal monologue of like everything leading up to this point and how he's gonna miss Severo.
Yeah.
Because like think about how long it takes Roke to die. You're like, okay, so he's definitely dead.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I still don't like Roke. I've never come around to liking Roke as much as Darrow likes Roke. I just don't get it. Get better friends. I don't know.
He's just a snooty asshole.
Yeah.
I mean, who's worse, Roke or Tactus?
Roke. Well, I mean, literally, I guess Tactus, but Roke is just like...
Tactus's worst thing was stealing a kid and like leaving them to fend for themselves. They at least had a fighting chance then.
No, but then he went in and was killing everybody at Lorne's. Like,
was he? I don't remember.
He was like about to kill a room of kids.
Yeah. He was about to, but he didn't.
That's because Darrow stopped him.
Yeah.
Sure.
He would have done it.
So Roke would have done it from space with a giant bomb.
Also, we know Tactus is, a rapist and like.
So that's why I said literally Tactus is worse. Roke, I think if they were golds, he would have stopped himself. But if it was a room full of red children, he would have been like, just kill him.
I think Tactus and Roke are kind of like Frankenstein and his monster, where you're like, the monster is going around killing people, but you're like, oh, you're a victim though, because like you like were people didn't take care of you. And like Victor Frankenstein, you're like, oh, you're smart. And like you've let this happen and you're making choices. So like Roke is like Victor Frankenstein and Tactus is like the monster who was just like his family is like so messed up that you're like you're not like innocent, but like It's a little bit not your fault.
I definitely felt more sad with the Tactus death and the reveal that he was practicing violin than any emotions that the book may or may not wanted me to feel for Roke's
Well,
funeral.
and it's also because at the moment of death, Tactus comes back to Darrow's side as opposed to Roke, who's like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I also just think Roke's a jerk. He's just a jackass. Like, if he lived in our world, he's just like a frat bro who's like getting a law
well,
degree.
Tactus is definitely a frat bro also. Actually, all of them are frat bros.
So Tactus also has less game, like, page time, and his consequences for my characters are less. Like,
Yeah.
that's just how it is.
I feel like it's because Tactus feels like a more tragic figure because he's like crying and wants to be back with Darrow and is like, it's like that's the moment that he dies. It's not him being like, I choose the society, I kill myself instead of joining you, screw you. Tactus is like, I'm sorry, I don't know, I messed up, take me back. I'm a mess. And you're like, and that's when he gets killed, like right in the moment of like redemption. And you're like, aw.
Yeah. No, and Matt brings up the whole, I always wondered why Roke was in House Aries, and then we find out how cruel and calculating he can be.
Mars?
Mars.
Yeah. They were all on Mars together, weren't they?
Mars and Aries.
Because Roke absolutely is not part of Aries.
No, yes, Aries. House Mars. But I get why the mistake happens, because Aries and Mars, it's, Rome Greek. It's very similar.
I just feel like Roke would be like, how dare you? I would never associate with Aries.
That's true. He's not a son of Aries.
So how did you feel about when they actually came to rescue them, like on the bridge? And they were like, oh, we can't get through the sky. They can't get ships in. And then you just hear all the drills. And he's like, duh, idiots. They would drill in underground.
And then we proceed to use claw drills a whole heck of a lot through the rest of what you're like, is that really the go-to weapon? Yeah, it's a surprise the first time, but how practical is it to bring claw drills every battle you go to?
The most
I mean, it was only twice and it worked well both times. I'm cool with it.
It's to the point where when they're at the end, Octavia is like, and there's no claw drills on Luna, right? Like, we got rid of them, right? Just like burn all the spinning wheels.
I mean, I was cool with it. I liked it. I liked Darrow not having sigils on his hands. I like that Darrow got to be in a claw drill. I thought that was like a really fun moment of like using his own tool again. I don't know. That's classic.
It doesn't make sense, but I know why it's there.
Again, if we're going to analyze this book on the merits of making sense, we're not going to have a good time. That's the later books.
Well, like I said, I think I figured out why Morningstar like doesn't work as well for me as the others do and as it does for other people. And I think it's because there's a lot about the Red Rising universe that's like pretty contrived and like doesn't really make sense. But like most of the rest of it, I'm kind of willing to just kind of go with it. But the part that is the most contrived to me, more than anything else, is the Obsidians. Like, I'll take the reds and I'll take the colors and the society and whatever. The Obsidians is just, everything about that is so stupid and contrived to me, which, like, I love Vikings, so you'd think that'd be my favorite part. But I'm just like, this makes no sense. Why is this here? So there's, like, a big chunk of this book, including Ragnar's death.
Which part? Like the entire existence of the Obsidians, or like why they convince them that
like,
they're
the
that they're
existence
Vikings
of the
and that they're
Obsidians
gods.
is like present in all the books, like they exist, but we focus the narrative on like how that all works and going to them and seeing it. And there's like a big chunk of the book that's like about Obsidians.
Yeah.
And it's just like the part of the book that I have the least going with itness. So like I want to be sad for Ragnar's death and I want to be like, yeah, Obsidians are joining us, but most of it I'm just like, this just doesn't make any sense. Like this is so stupid.
It makes sense in video game logic, which is the logic I've been using. But because like all I could think of with the Obsidians is like this would be a really fun part of a video game, and the reveal as playing the Obsidian of your overlords, like playing Sephi in a video game would be a blast.
Pierce Brown really just wanted Vikings in this book and was like, you know what? We're just going all the way with this. And then we're literally going to have them overthrow their gods. And then he was just like, let's make this cooler. It's the Proctors. They're the ones doing it because we haven't seen them since the first book.
Yeah, no, it's just like the whole existence, like the society, like decided to like set this up with the way they did with the Obsidians and carved creatures and like kept around these things that are big enough to kill a gold. They're like physically bigger and they're like, oh, you're going to set them free. That's going to endanger us. You're like, yeah, so why'd you have them? Like, I don't understand.
I think it's just a weird god
why this was
necessary. The Golds just wanted to experiment with shit and was like, let's just make space Vikings and make them rabid warriors and convince them that we're their gods and like throw famine on them and deplete their population so they praise us. Like they're just twisted and crazy people.
I find it also hard to believe that no one before Darrow would have succeeded in telling them that they wouldn't have figured this out. Because,
Well,
like,
I mean, it was shown that like the leaders do know typically. They just
Mhm.
figure that's the easiest path of least resistance is to not buck the horse or anything like that.
Yeah.
the leaders know, but I'm saying that like having like with the technology they have and with like the enemies of the state they have and terrorist groups beyond Sons of Ares and just like people like Adrius and Quicksilver around, like it's already stupid that it exists, and then I find it very hard to believe it continued to exist and nobody was like, hey guys.
I mean, maybe they had no reason
Actually,
to do it. Like Adrius wouldn't give a shit unless it benefited him. And
but I mean, it would benefit somebody for the same way it benefits Darrow. If they wanted a coup, they'd be like, "Hey, all I got to
if
do is
they
tell the
wanted the coup,
Obsidians
sure.
that they've been
hmm
messed with, and now I got an army. Let's go."
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason that they decided to put in the resources to make obsidians and do what they've done with them is they wanted to have essentially strong infantry that they could sick on other golds without it being golds who have their own thoughts and opinions. Like they
Well,
wanted to have that.
it's told to us. I think it's in Golden Sun when we're first kind of introduced into like I think Obsidians are like a single line exists in Red Rising, but we're actually introduced to the concept of Obsidians and how that works in Golden Sun. And it is explained that Obsidians weren't originally in this like fake Viking like Middle Ages. Like there was an uprising of Obsidians, and they actually did almost overthrow Gold. And Gold
Mhm.
was like, so we're going to make Viking land for you. And I just feel like because they were such a threat that almost annihilated Gold, Gold wouldn't keep it around. Like they're just like, why would
none
you
of
do
these
this?
books have convinced me that golds make the best decision for golds. Like they're just
They
functional
clearly
enough
don't.
to not completely cannibalize society. But even then, that's the whole point of this trilogy is they really aren't stable enough. Like truly, Darrow should not have been able to accomplish any of this.
He's
Like
special.
he shouldn't have been
He
able
is the
to.
main character.
He is the
That's
hero
the
of his own
difference.
story.
Exactly.
But I agree, Matt. They're just really cool video game logic. Aiden liked that part. I think it's as flimsy as everything else. I think there's a lot of flimsy world building. If I think about the world building or the societal commentary or the themes too much, I don't have fun.
Whereas I think the world building works a lot better for me in Iron Gold and Dark Age. It doesn't feel as like, this is cool, so I'm
Yeah.
just going to put this in here.
Yeah.
Well, without spoiling anything, we learn even more about Obsidians in the next books, which is.
But it doesn't feel as like dumb and cartoonish as it does.
It doesn't,
in
though.
Morningstar.
I'm pretty sure it does.
Like it feels more like this already is a thing in the world. Like he can't not have that because like he already put it in this world. So then he's like, okay, well let's be let's do something even more crazy and interesting with it. Like let's go as far as that goes.
He
as opposed
takes
to
it
here.
as far as he can go.
But then it
Or-
actually becomes interesting again. It like shoots past the point of like this is dumb.
I
into,
love
like,
it the whole
well,
way
this is
through,
wild. So
but
like
it's
now I want to
super
know.
out there. Like, come on.
It's funny where the line works for you, Leanne. It's always fascinating. Like when things are
Basically, I just like if you commit to something, if you're just like,
Oh, he
this
commits.
is crazy, but I'm doing it. If you lean into like a stylistic choice, you lean into something wild, I'm like, you're going for it. So like respect.
He leans all the way into it by
I'm
Dark
here
Age.
for it.
No, I'm just hearing Alan in my head going, "Fa."
So part 1, they get rescued by, jumping into a hole. That's where we're at. Part 2 is a lot of recovery, figuring out where things are, catching Darrow up to everything. So that's
and
the
you see
next
how
section.
terrible they are at this because like they saved a bunch of reds, but like they're rationing them. There's like they have to keep lights on them at all times because if it's dark, people get like raped and murdered and stolen from, and it's like you see that they're trying, but also like they're not very good at what they're because I think they even said like several was like we never really thought about like what we would do like after or, like what we would do having to actually control this. So we're doing what we can, and then you learn that Darrow was basically publicly executed, which rest in peace whoever was actually executed as
Doesn't
Darrow.
matter. It was just an NPC.
Whoever the random person was, whoever red shirt that day. They like stopped looking for him, but Severin never stopped because he's a good little lad. Never gave up the search, which is great.
Good
I love the
little lad.
line where like it's something he's like, if he was really dead, then I would feel it. And it's something that like
Yeah.
lovers would say in some
Right.
like romance novel, like, she's not gone, I would know.
But I really I think it's in part 2 still. So Darrow and Victra become golds again that aren't like, and somehow in this whole recovery period and for the rest of this book,
Training
I think
montage.
Well, during this whole montage, Victor's the only one who seems to have any sort of PTSD for the rest of the book, and Darrow's just fine for the most part.
Except for
Darrow's been
occasionally
through
when
this
Darrow
already.
remembers to doubt himself, to be like, oh yeah, but I'm just a boy who's afraid. And you're like, okay, go back to leading your army.
But Victor seems to have a little bit more that she holds on to, but in general, they heal almost completely. They go on their first mission with the Howlers after initiation, which
after they
gross.
do their little like back
Yeah.
into shape montage of like going
Yeah.
to the gym together and getting initiated into the fraternity of Howlers.
Okay,
And
maybe
I
a
don't
hot
actually
take,
think
but
he killed somebody.
Victor Darrow friendship is greater to me than Severo Darrow friendship. I love
What?
Victor and Darrow's friendship a lot.
I mean, it's
like,
good, but
I think it has like, I mean, I know everyone says they're brothers and whatever in this universe, but I do think of like Severo and Darrow as like best friends, and Victor and Darrow, I just feel like the platonic sibling relationshipness.
Not super platonic to begin with.
Well, Victor tries, but like Darrow's dumb. I don't know. Darrow, didn't want to have fun at the institute, or not the institute,
Right?
whatever it was called, the academy, whatever the
Both?
space institute.
Yeah,
Starfleet.
Academy. Starfleet.
The star thing. But I liked when they went on their first Howler mission, the back and forth struggle of Darrow dealing with Severo being in command and what that actually means for everything, and how to approach his friend and how to take control back, or should he, like that whole conflict and how it resolved.
Severo has more PTSD than Darrow about like
Truly.
losing his dad and like feeling like he lost Darrow and not knowing what he's doing. I mean, one of the things that I think this book does the best is that like the fact like what the state of the Suns is when Darrow comes back and is like, I'm not the same, it's not the same, nothing is the same, everything is kind of fucked, like what do I even do? And then like he's like, well, Severo's in charge, I gotta let Severo be in charge. And then he's like, am I a bad friend if I'm like doubting him, or should I like stop this because this is a bad idea?
And then he immediately doubts him.
Yeah. Well,
he's like, I know I said you were leading this mission, but I'm in charge again.
And then there's that, like, there are moments where you legitimately start to like hate Severo, like when he cuts Darrow's comms and is like will not listen, and you're like, Severo.
Yeah, well, because he even tells him, he's like, stop just trying to blow shit up. He's like, we're not terrorists. And
when they're talking to Quicksilver and he still won't listen, and he's about to like press the thing, and you're like, you like, as much as it's like after it happens you feel bad, but like you want Severo to like have like, that's what I think Darrow thinks it to himself too, when he's like Quicksilver's like giving him the hard truth and how hard it is for, because he says like that he's a bad investment, that he's a no Fitchner, and he's like, he can see that hurts Severo, but he's like, but he needs to hear this. And that's how you feel too, because this whole time you're like, stop it, you're stupid, listen, somebody yell at this guy, somebody strangle this guy, and then they do, and he's so sad, and you're like, I didn't mean it though, like I don't want you to be that sad though. And then when they fight it out and like,
but it's such a good fight. Really well.
It's a great moment.
It was such a good little arc between the two of them. I agree Victor's just flirty. This is a question during the initiation. I don't think anyone was killed in the making of these Howlers. But
I think he said that he could have snapped his neck, or I remember them talking about it. I don't think he literally killed somebody, because that would have been unfortunate.
I was just really grossed out by what they had to eat, but I was also like really pro Harmony, because she was just all in. Like,
yeah.
Holiday?
Or Holiday, sorry.
Holiday.
I was like, you're pro Harmony.
Harmony leads the Red Legion. She's the bad guy.
Which on reread, this was really confusing, because I knew there was a Holiday, I think, but I didn't know when she showed up.
I swear Pierce Brown just comes up every there's always two names that almost sound identical, and there's just pairs all the time. There's Kravix and Karnus, there's Titus and Tactus, there's Holiday and Harmony. Like, it's constantly pairs, and there's always opposites. Like, there's one on each side, and you're like, is this the one I hate or the one that I like?
Yeah. No, and I think that's what happened is when I first met Harmony in Red Rising on reread, I'm like, are you like, I didn't know it was Holiday, but in my head it's like, are you Holiday? But I was like, I thought Holiday was a gray and you're a red. Does she get carved into a gray? And I'm like, oh no, she gets pushed a little too far.
She goes super terrorist.
Yeah, no, I like Severo's progress a lot. And I thought a lot of their I don't know, their banter humor worked really well, especially before the fights. Like when they were on I don't remember, this is probably part 3 or whatever, I think they're on the rim, they're about to fight something. I don't remember for sure, but they're all in the comms, talking shit. And someone's like, are they always like this? And it's just like, I really liked those moments. And I think there's so many of them in this book.
I think for also in this book, because we do get more of a character arc for Severo, that his humor thereafter, you realize kind of what a crutch and a coping mechanism that is for him. So like when he does it and later, like it's funny and it's like kind of wild, but you're also like, it kind of breaks your heart every time it makes a joke, because you're like, this is coming from a place of insecurity and pain.
Well, it also comes back to, for me, a little bit. So this kind of goes with Victra Severo arc. I mean, Severo has a lot of crude jokes, but he obviously like actually doesn't
It's
know how
not
to
as
do.
bad as Robert Jordan romance.
No,
Let's
it's
just
really
be
not.
fair
There's
there.
actually like actual
Robert
like,
Jordan's best
clues.
romance throughout the Wheel of Time is still 10 times worse than Severo and Victor getting married.
I'm also biased because, we know where the relationship gets to go in other books. So like I'm very like in my head they're always together, which I know is what Wheel of Time fans say about certain couples in that series.
Stop it.
I just feel like Severo and Victor kind of comes out of nowhere. There's not a lot of setup for that. And so it's mostly it's just very funny watching them interact before that in Golden Sun and Morning Star. Like especially after like Severo
He like doesn't like her at all.
Yeah,
that
Darrow
whole
when
time.
Darrow rescues Victra in the beginning, like when they're both
Mhm.
when he and Sarah was not happy about it, and he's so mean to Victra, and like he's the like that scene when Severo takes in Golden Sun when he takes Sophocles out of Victra's lap. I love that scene because I'm like, you guys are gonna get married though.
Yeah. But I mean, I did like, I liked that whole marriage arc. I really like their wedding, but I'm also like, as someone who's about to get married in a few months, all wedding scenes get to me at the moment. So like very just like
We should just do a quick one like they did in the middle of a war and
nothing bad will happen. I don't remember where we were in this plot. Part 2, they get Quicksilver. Quicksilver being a son of Ares.
Mhm.
I remember that being a
I
big
really like
reveal my first
Quicksilver.
read.
Yeah, that was a lot of good like exposition stuff and learning about who Quicksilver is. You also learned that the society is just in a war with the Rim, so like that's not going well.
I also like anytime because Darrow's pretty smug about like having the upper hand a lot. And I love the times when there's something Darrow doesn't know. And when Darrow is
Yeah.
as shocked as the rest of us. And when there's it's usually like Virginia or like Quicksilver, Fitchner, people like that are like, oh, little boy, this is way bigger than you think. Like you don't actually know anything.
Well, and
Go ahead.
well, no, it's also interesting because it's another character where I'm like, okay, we're working with him now because like we need to, and like what we have is worse. But like his political, social ideals, whatever, are actually also not sustainable for the society. Like 100% all in on capitalism without any like safeguards is not going to help everybody.
Yeah.
It's going to create a different hierarchy system that has different flaws. So I really like that emphasis, but it's a spark of hope because at this point we're so low, right? We're so like, how are we going to do anything? And suddenly we have money.
Well, even before that though, like the whole lead up to that, when they're, getting into this building trying to find Quicksilver and everything is just wrong. And they keep being like, something doesn't feel right here. Like, where is everybody? And they like open the door. And it's just like Cassius, Virginia, Quicksilver. Like everyone's just like, huh? I'm like, why are all of you together here?
And they all have
they just start
masks on and they all start fighting each other. And like those moments when Darrow is like, what is happening?
And then Darrow almost dies, so he unmasks himself. And then Virginia's like, what the? That's you? Like right as she's about to kill him.
And like in that moment, she's like, oh shit, we have a kid and he's alive.
Well, it's so good too because Darrow gets mad at Severo. He was like, that's Mustang. He was just like, eh.
Which is peak being mad at Severo. He cuts his comms and he doesn't care that it's Mustang. And you're just like, Severo, you're really testing my limits here.
Truly. So we have all of that. Oh, I love the Telemonuses. They are my favorite golds.
Yeah. They're the Pokemon.
They're just the
awesome.
best golds.
I'm never upset to have the Telemonuses.
The world would be better if there were more of them. Truly.
Like, I would marry Virginia to marry into the Telemonus family.
She's not even technically a part of it, but sure.
But she's definitely a part of the family.
Ways to marry into their family than marrying Virginia.
I'm saying the best part the best part of Darrow's deal of like getting to be with Mustang is that he gets to have the Telemonuses.
They're just adorable.
They are.
And like, I don't, we talk about a lot of things that aren't realistic. I don't think they're realistic. I don't think they come out of this society. I don't think we meet people like that.
I low-key picture Karnas as the dad from Brave.
Yes.
Oh yes, they all are. They're all
They're just these huge, stout individuals. Like, yeah.
But also, like, the dad from Brave is like
characters.
the dad from Brave is very kind of like over the top and like very like joyful and like, but also violent. You're like, it's definitely Karnas. I'm sorry, Karnas, Kravis.
Yeah. No, they're all That they're all that character. Exactly.
Daxo is like the hot young version of that.
Exactly.
Yep. So love the Telemonises. I love that Ragnar's the reason why Mustang comes back, because he, releases the one person. Is that it for part 2 before we get to part 3 where he convinces everyone we got to leave Mars, we got to change the paradigm, that whole thing?
Where were they when Adrius like straight up tells Darrow that he's just gonna like kill everyone that he loves? I don't remember at what point that was, but he tells him, he's like, I'm gonna kill all your friends.
I don't know.
I
When
don't remember
doesn't he
which part
say
it was.
that?
Well, that's fair, but
I don't remember.
it happened like right before they went to Viking Frozen Land. I just don't remember like where they were when that happened.
Well, Viking Frozen Land is after Luna, right? Yeah.
Maybe it was on Luna then.
Because, Luna happens with Quicksilver, and then Darrow and Mustang sneak away to go get the obsidian, and then they go to the Outer Rim.
I'll have to look it
Right.
up.
That's the whole...
We also didn't, I mean, there's not much to say, but Severo and Ragnar being bros is also adorable because
I just love also how all the kids love Ragnar. Basically, Ragnar is really great, and I love
He's
him.
a big teddy bear.
But when
but he's
Ragnar
a murder teddy
steals
bear.
his peanut candy and is just chewing, like, I love that.
Yeah, that was
What?
over the
Viking
comms.
Frozen Land. That's what it is. Yeah. Okay.
Viking Frozen.
What?
Listen,
that's what
it'd
it
be a
was.
great video game.
There's
I
like
would-
dragons, and
It'd be so fun.
because I remember when I saw the artwork, I was just like, oh yeah, they like made dragons and sea serpents. It's literally like they went to the point. Pierce Brown was like, I love Vikings so much that the Golds are literally going to create mythological Viking sea creatures, and they're just going to carve them and put them in the ocean.
Griffins for them to ride.
Exactly.
Peak excess. I think this makes sense.
Love it.
The fact that we have things like Las Vegas in a desert, I think this makes sense. Just,
Well, okay. So I object to like the premise of the existence of the setup for obsidians, but if I go with you that this exists and we're doing this, I don't at all question that they're carving creatures to fill the oceans. Like, if we're doing this, then we're doing this, and this is what they would do.
That's great.
Yes, join us. Accept it. There we go.
It's great.
No, truly, the Obsidians felt like I was playing the DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn. It felt like I was in the
Frozen
DLC
Wilds.
for that.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it felt. It was a
Red
good
Rising,
time.
Frozen Wilds.
Yeah. Okay, so we
Which
get
I mean,
the
of course, like,
Yeah,
hold
go
on,
ahead.
because that plot and premise is also completely ridiculous. Of like these like people wearing like living in huts and wielding spears and fighting literal dinosaur robots. Like, it's the coolest shit ever.
But it's so
but it's
fun.
totally absurd. Oh, I love it. I mean, it's
and the way that they do attempt to world build sci-fi it is good enough. It's fun
Yeah.
enough.
anyway.
Yeah.
Back to Red Rising.
Yeah.
I didn't realize at first you weren't talking about this, and I was like, where were the dinosaurs? Did I miss that?
Why
You don't
haven't they
remember when we
carved
went to
dinosaurs?
Jurassic
That's the
Park?
real question. Where is the T-Rex?
I mean, they could carve one.
But also, they would by then know that T-Rexes would have had wings and feathers, and it would look quite different.
It's true, but remember, it's like Jurassic World where they know that and they ignore it because they want to make it look like what people
Exactly.
think.
Yeah, let's apply logic now to Jurassic World,
They
they made a
attempt it.
T-Rex go invisible.
Yeah, we're not going to touch it. Jurassic Park is like, it's a fun time.
Well, I'll tell you another thing that annoys me about there's a lot that annoys me about the Obsidian plotline. Again, I reject the premise of them existing.
You can't reject
but-
it; it exists.
But also, I feel
Take
like
that.
this isn't the only time this happens, but it's one of like the peak times that it happens, and one of the peak times that it happens pivotally, where Darrow makes some grand speech and it changes people's minds and they rally and they join. Because I reject that happens, and so then like. That's why I like Iron Gold and Dark Age, because those are the books where like, oh, that doesn't work. People aren't like that. And so here there's too many times where Darrow is like, oh, but I've shown you the truth and we'll fight together for a better tomorrow. And I'm just like, maybe one person would be like, everyone else would be like, no, who is this guy?
Yeah,
But he's Darrow.
but he's Darrow.
Darrow's got the answers in the speeches.
Got the answers, got the speeches.
You can't hate Obsidians and Darrow giving rousing speeches. You got to pick one.
Watch her.
Choose now.
Leanna does this. That's fine.
Yep.
All right, we land on Mars to go to the Obsidian, but they land too quickly because Cassius is a dick. Or maybe it was
Yep.
Aja. I guess we really don't know. But it was, Cassius.
I mean, we know Aja's a dick too, so
Yeah.
they're all very dickish
Cassius
at
just
this
has
point.
a dick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Does that make him a bigger dick? Anyway,
I know
let's move on.
Aja is definitely. That's my opinion. So everyone's in survival mode, and it's like we're back on the Institute. That's what it reminded me of. It's just like, oh great, now we're in survival mode again, and
When
we have to deal
when
with
they're in the
cannibals.
frozen hellhole. Yeah,
Well,
it was so cool though.
The scene where
It was
there's
like Lovecrafty and it was weird and creepy.
But when they're first in the water and then they're like, there's something on the water, and then it comes and it grabs. It reminded me of two things, and either of them is equally plausible for Pierce Brown being inspired. The garbage chute monster in Star Wars and
The Rancor?
the serpent thingy in
Oh, the
Princess
garbage
Bride.
chute.
In
Yeah.
Princess Bride, when she jumps in the boat or out off the boat, and yeah, it reminded me of both.
Yep, and they lose all of the fancy stuff that they were going to use. Like basically, a lot of Pierce Brown is a lot like the Dungeons and Dragons movie I saw recently, where it's like, oh, that plot didn't work, make a new plot. Like, need to make
That's Dungeons and Dragons.
This is when you realize he really is a pantser.
Yeah, it's like, okay, what's the next thing? Okay, we got to go find Cassius's ship. Okay, then what's the next thing? We're gonna follow them because that's smart. I don't remember the logic behind following them, but that's what we choose to do.
It's Cassius. So
Isn't
there
it to
you
get
go.
their supplies?
No, they
I
go
don't
to the
remember.
ship and they get supplies, but then they choose. And it's like, I think an attempt to neutralize Aja. Like, this is like the one chance they could maybe get her off the board. Like, I think that's the logic. I think it's bad logic.
When you said get her off the board, I was thinking like a board of like decision makers in a company, and you're like,
Kick
we need
her
her
off the
removed
board.
from the board.
She's
No,
probably
I was
on a
definitely
board.
thinking of chess and that she's like, the queen piece, and we need to.
She's probably on a board of directors somewhere as well.
I mean, that's what being a Fury is for the Sovereign. Like, you can't get
Basically.
closer than that.
Basically.
So, and then, he asks Ragnar if he can defeat Aja, and no.
Wait, but since we know Pierce Brown is a pantser, how much do we think Darrow truly didn't know that Severo was fine and that Cassius was in on it, because he hadn't yet written the scene where that is revealed, and he just didn't change it? He just didn't like make the dialogue make more sense.
So what was the plan then?
He found out when he got there.
I don't think so. I think that was just purposely done for dramatic effect. And I think he had to fight for that probably with his editors, because there's no universe in which editors read that and are also like, this is allowed.
No, I think he didn't know. I think he thought there's going to be some kind of plan, but I don't know what the plan is, and I don't know who's in on it. So right now, dramatic scene, Severo dead, question mark, Darrow upset, and we move to the next thing, and you're like, oh, what if Cassius did this because Darrow told him to? Yes, okay, that's the next thing that's happening.
But
you're like,
but even before that though, so like it all had to have been planned ahead of time, because Darrow literally has like a needle to stick into Severo.
Once Pierce Brown
back.
got to that scene, then he was like, and then
Then he
Darrow is gonna
retconned
have
the whole
a
scene
needle,
behind it.
and then he's gonna revive Severo. Yes, this is good.
I will say the parts that I thought were actually well planned was this was the only way to get to the Sovereign, was to do this plan. So that's why I think it's not completely planned, because like this is the only way to get to the Sovereign into her inner circle is by tricking them to thinking they've been captured. Like that made sense to me.
I think he figured that out after he wrote it, where now
Maybe
Cassius has them captured, and he's like, hey, this would actually be a good trick if they did it on purpose instead of me just writing a dramatic scene.
Well, next time you meet Pierce Brown at a signing, I want you to ask him for us. Okay?
I will.
Well, so before we, since we're talking about the end of the book again,
it's a good ending.
We already know.
Also, I just read the ending like 2 minutes ago. So.
Lyanna rejects the idea of the Obsidian's existence as a whole, but Sephi and all of them going up to the.
You make me sound so colorist.
Not Olympus or whatever it is, but because it was Olympus in the Academy, right? What did they call it?
I don't remember what it's called for the Norse gods. It's not the.
Oh.
But when they overthrow them, like I just thought that was just a fun scene, though.
Oh yeah, it was Asgard. That's what they called it.
Oh yeah, duh, Vikings. Never mind. That was cool though, because I just love the fact that they were just like, we're just gonna fly up to Asgard and kill all the gods that aren't actually gods, and then didn't they have like a whole like room of statues and like fuck off, you liars.
Yeah, no, I liked bringing Sephi, and I also liked the instability of having Sephi instead of Ragnar, because like that does lead to a lot of question marks. And then we do have this payoff later where, you know,
It's a
Sephi
wild
is
card
kind
for
of
sure.
leading this kind of weird rebellion, and like then Severo has to do that whole thing with Cassius hanging both of them, like, you
I
know.
love that scene because again, it's just insane. Like when they're back on the ship and they all want Cassius to die, and he's just like, "What do we do to murderers? Kill them." He's like, "Yes," and they hang him, and then he's like, "What do we do with murderers?" They're like, "Kill them." He's like, "Yes." Noose, and like backflips off a bridge. I'm like, what the hell?
And then the scene after that where Darrow and him are up one-upping each other about who could have like had heavier weight on themselves and who suffered more.
Well, also that like the doctor or the nurse or whatever is like, if you had weighed X amount more, then this rope would have like broken your neck. And he's like, it's a good thing I took a shit. But also, I was like, Cassius definitely weighs more than Severo, but he's okay. So what?
Don't worry about that.
I don't think physics is what Pierce Brown was thinking when he wrote this, because I definitely don't. It doesn't check out. It definitely doesn't.
The golds are just that strong.
It's their trap muscles are just that thick. They really can handle it.
Apparently.
It's just a great Severo moment though, because he's a psychopath, and that's why you love his character. We didn't even. I
was gonna say I buy that
he took.
I buy that Severo would do that. I don't buy that they lived through it.
he just accidentally actually killed himself. Probably. I mean, they would have died if Sephi didn't cut them down. They were both hanging there, so.
Yeah, I mean,
but we did kind of gloss over the fact that he literally is wearing Darrow's eyes. Like,
oh yeah, we did gloss over that.
Before we started, before we went live, and I was like, we should save this for the live, Severo versus Adrius, because I was saying there's a fine line between being Severo and being Adrius, and it's more just like your motivations, not what you do, because anything they do, the other one would do. What I was gonna say at that point was that like Adrius wears the bones of people, but Severo is wearing Darrow's eyes. So like,
but the difference is Adrius does it as like a threat and
that's
like
what
a sadistic way,
the difference
whereas Severo is like, I love you so much, I'm wearing your eyes.
That's what I said. The difference between
mine
them,
now.
The difference between them is not what they do; it's why they're doing what they're doing. But the like crazy psychotic thing that is being done, either of them would do.
Like Adrius would cut Darrow's eyes out and wear them, and then like make fun of him for it. Whereas Severo is like, look, bro, like. They're yours. Isn't this cool?
And Severo was like, do you want them back? He offered to give them back. Like, that's different too. It is a little weird though.
And Darrow's like, nah, you're good. You can have them.
I mean, honestly, I feel like poor Severo needs more ties to his pseudo red heritage. He's a poor, like, bi-colored kid in this world.
Like when he starts saying bloody damn, he's like, oh, that sounds so cool.
I forgot about Severo's toenails. And him being like, they're good for hanging off of things. And Darrow was like, is he kidding?
He's a sloth.
I'm not sure.
He's a sloth.
Well, it's also like when he says that, the fact that Darrow's not sure if he's kidding, it makes you realize that when he said he had long toenails, he meant really long, to where like, so Darrow is like, it's plausible he is using them to hang off of things.
Yeah. Or when he talks about like where his weapons were like in his pants. I was like, they're just gonna be like grungy. Yeah, it was gross. He's gross.
I feel like he was almost embarrassed that he shat himself at the end of the book.
Well, because he's like, why do you think I'd do that on purpose? And they're like,
yeah.
No, maybe.
Probably.
We don't not think that.
All right. So backtracking a tiny bit, we were before the hanging scene still. Where were we at? We haven't gone to the rim yet, so we haven't met the Iron Golds.
Mm-hmm.
Like Romulus, right? Is that his name? And his daughter, who Darrow gets to meet in the garden, which I thought was sweet. I liked that quiet moment of like getting to meet. I like
those moments when Darrow meets like wise people. That's why I said earlier too. Like when he meets Quicksilver, and Quicksilver's like, I know a lot of stuff you don't know, and like, let me tell you how the world really is. And Romulus is a bit that way too, where like he says stuff that like Darrow doesn't necessarily agree with, but like he's not like a psycho, and he's not like Octavia. He's like a wise person. He's more like Lorne. You know, where like I don't necessarily agree with everything you say, but like you have like a position worthy of debating.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's and also there's more restraint, I think, because I think the true issue at this moment in their history, I mean, yes, the system is unfair and it was built to be unfair on purpose, but right now it's to such an extreme excess that it's breaking. Like truly, it's just being pushed to its limits. where it seems the Rimgolds are like, well, we shouldn't have XYZ extravagance. Like, why would I let my kids have servants? Like, they're not quite pushed to that level yet.
Mhm.
Which is when also Daryl's like, oh, and you think because you show restraint, then like you're somehow like morally in the right? Like, no. And you're like, well, yeah.
It's just, it would just be like if you had to choose between the sovereign and him, I guess he would at
The
least not
lesser of
be
two
as,
evils.
maybe, I don't even really know, but like,
Well, I think it's almost more scary because like you have people like Tactus and even Roke to a certain extent that just kind of like this is the society and we follow it blindly. But like
Mhm.
Romulus, Nero, because Nero also when he talked to Darrow about stuff, he's like, oh, of course I know a red
They
could
know
do
how to
whatever. I know a
manipulate
blue
it,
could run a ship.
and they
Like I'm
could
not.
do better. Yeah.
Yeah, so like when they were like more intelligent about, because I feel like Romulus would also say similar things to Nero. It's like, oh, I
Mhm.
don't think that like they're incapable of these things. I just there has to be order, and this is how we
Yeah.
do order. And my golds right now, that is also just as reprehensible as what the low colors are doing because that's not really the gold way either. And you're like, you're wrong, but like you're kind of scary smart about being wrong.
yeah, the way that they're able to manipulate their debates to seem reasonable, the false equivalencies, yeah, it's all really terrifying.
I mean, they seem reasonable because they probably think that they are, because they're in that position of power where they can be like, look, let me tell you how things really work because
Well,
this is how I'm here.
they are reasonable if you accept their initial premise of this
Mhm.
is how the world, like their initial premise of superiority. Like if you agree with that, then they are completely being reasonable.
Yeah.
But like it's kind of like I reject the existence of obsidians. Once I accept that this is going to be the thing, okay, well then we are going to have monsters in the ocean that's happening. But like, yeah, so we reject the premise that Nero
Yeah.
lives by, that Romulus lives by. But if you accept that premise, then they're being completely rational and logical.
Well, because a lot of people have said this in this book. It was almost as much as the paradigm line. It was like, this is the best we can afford. Was that the line that people keep saying over and over? Like, that's
Yeah.
the rationalization. Is like, there is no option where people aren't suffering, and this is the best option, and it's only the best for the golds, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, also,
It's
Matt's
easy to say that when
comparing,
you're at the top of the society.
yeah, how the Iron Golds remind him of tech execs who don't let like kids on social media and stuff like that. So, also throwing it back to Severo Eyes. This was,
So good.
so good.
Because he's genuine about it.
I
He's
feel
just like, what?
no matter how wild Severo is, every time he surprises me. He always says something where I'm like, nope, wasn't expecting that.
I really like the Roke Romulus Mustang Darrow like debate around a table.
Yeah.
I thought that was really fun.
Trying to convince them to side with the other one. Yeah, that was good.
And like how they manipulated the truth just enough. It's like, like it was still the truth that they had all those nuclear bombs and we're going to use them against the Rim. It's not a truth that they have them.
Yep.
And I really liked how that played out in the battle and stuff like that.
Well, I love that moment that then we get the payoff later when Romulus knows, but he's like, he's got too much skin in the game to like it behooves him to keep the secret, and when like that's where like that's the kind of scene where like we could have had that kind of like Darrow doesn't actually ever admit it. He like says stuff that is like, yeah, I'm guessing that you everyone knows what we're saying, but he doesn't actually say it. So that's the kind of thinking he could have had later.
Yeah.
With the fake out with Cassius, where like he says stuff, but like doesn't actually ever say the thing, and like you're clearly going to misinterpret it.
Yeah. No. So I guess this battle has the claw drills again that Leanna loves. Wishes we used more of them. Needed more.
I mean, it's sweet though. They drill directly into a ship.
It makes more sense than the Obsidians.
I mean, I do like when Darrow half thinks about battles because he thinks about them enough that I know he has a plan that he hasn't told me yet. But it's like he's like half thinking about it, so it's like still leads me into suspense. I'm like, okay, so why are you doing the thing you know he's going to predict you're doing? What's the payoff?
And I also appreciate that, unlike in the Dandelion Dynasty, we don't in the middle of battle go, I had a great plan, and then we're going to cut to 100 pages flashback to where I formed that plan. Now back to the battle. And you're like, what? Oh, that's right. We were in the middle of battle, and we stopped to explain what our plan was.
I don't know if that's happened to me yet, or if it has, I think I've had fun with it. But I think the Dandelion Dynasty has been made for my taste specifically.
So Leanna also rejects Ken Liu, just generally.
Which is so harsh.
I reject the pacing choices.
mean, fair. I can definitely see they're not for everyone, but Kenlu's great. I'm almost done with Wall of Storm. I'm having a fan-freaking-tastic time. I'm actually was trying really hard not to lower my rating of Morningstar because it was preventing me from reading Wall of Storms. Okay, it was in my
That would
way.
have been fair.
I try to be fair. So
Nothing wrong with this book, but I was reading a really good book at the same time, so this one just felt inferior. So
first
I
of
had
all,
to
you know
dock
that
it.
actually happens, right? Like when you read two books next to each other, if
Of
one is
course.
significantly better than the other, it hurts the other.
When I read The Goblin
Of
Emperor,
course.
I didn't like it, and there's no universe in which like that would have been my favorite book. I was never gonna really like The Goblin Emperor, but I did read it right after finishing Wisdom of Crowds for the very first time. So I was like,
That's
also,
two.
this is not the Wisdom
You
of
get
Crowds.
you get one more, Leanna. One more in this live show.
Oh gosh, help us when we get to the Grimdark books, though. There's going to be no universe in which she doesn't just reference them over and over.
It's okay. I'll be as insufferable talking about Dune.
Lord,
I doubt it. Actually,
The Dune references are many.
direct.
is it just Dune 1, or are you going to talk about the other books too? I've only read the
No,
first.
because the other books are insane.
Yeah,
Also, they're not referenced.
No, this is just about Dune.
just do. Okay, so we have this battle. Works out. We get to the place with Roke on the thing, and they try to make Roke come back to their side.
We get to the place with Roke on the thing.
Yeah.
Roke is on his ship that they drill into in their claw drills, and then just like murder everybody because they're.
And I like that
badasses.
when they figure out what Darrow's about to do, how he's about to like create the situation that looks like Roke fired on them, and everyone's like, what's he doing? And the fact that Victra's like, share the load, and she's like the one that makes the call, even though
She's like,
it doesn't
"I got this
actually
one."
like, but it doesn't take away any like of Darrow's agency or guilt. But like, just it's kind of like a firing squad, you know, like that's why you have a firing squad, because then each person who's in the firing squad has like plausible like deniability and sharing of the burden that they didn't do the killing.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Victor straight up was just like, take your hand off the button. Like, I got this.
Yeah.
And she says this one's
that's
on
another
me.
moment where I love them. I love Victra and Darrow. Which classic, Matt? So Matt was reading a classic along with the second half of Morningstar, and that would be a lot. And I also wanted more Orion. I always want more Orion.
Yeah.
Orion's one of my favorite characters. I like that she was a pirate for a while. I thought that was awesome. And then we go off after Antonia, right? That's like a thing we do after this whole thing. We have to go get Antonia. And then is that when the scene with Thistle happens? Because that was rough.
Yeah, after they capture her, because they need to get intel, and yeah,
that was rough. I felt
which
bad.
I mean, in that scene, I was also like, how stupid was it to put them within arm's reach of each other? What did you think was gonna happen?
Again, no one's that smart. I don't actually know where all the brain cells are.
I mean, Mustang was there. She's supposed to be the smart one.
I think Mustang is smarter than the people we think are smart in our society, but I don't think she's that smart. I think it's like a lie that we keep telling ourselves.
Like, I mean, she's only as smart as Piers Brown.
Right? Like, I think she's
Leanna's also denying Piers Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, Piers Brown has personally said that, like, because in his mind, Virginia is a lot smarter than he is. But he's like, how do you write a character that's smarter than you are?
Well, you're not a pantser, and you talk to friends in your life who are smarter than you and be like, well, if you were in this situation, what might be some ideas you would have?
Well, since Virginia is based on his mother, maybe he did say, hey, Mom, what would you do in this space battle? And she was like, this? And he was like, great, that's Virginia's plan.
Oh, Virginia. I also really like Virginia, and I like that Darrow can kind of feel her never-ending judgment, and how we know on reread that it's because of the kid that's with the Telemonases. But like Darrow's like, why is this still happening?
I forgot that she had the kid between books. I remember that there's a kid at the end, but for some reason I thought there was like another time skip at the end where she disappears for a little bit and shows back up with a kid. That's how I remember that happening. So I forgot that like
it's just not a time skip. Like she literally just like is like, hold on, like let me introduce you to our child.
I'm saying, but I had the same thing as Leanna. I thought there was going to be a long in-book time skip where they don't see each other for a year. But then I realized as we got to the end of the book, oh no, that happened during the 9 months he was in a box.
Yeah. So like all this stuff about her testing him, I was like, well, I didn't enter my head that was like about the kid, because I was like, the kid happens later. That's not what this is. What is this?
Well, and I think the reason I figured it out was like, wait, they don't sleep together in this book. They slept together.
I kept waiting for that. I was like, is this the part where they bang? They have to bang because there has to be a kid. When are they banging?
So
It
yeah,
already happened. Calm down.
all right. So
I do feel, I mean, I get because there's the thing with the kid, but I feel like the drama between Darrow and Mustang is a bit dragged out in Morningstar, which also makes me like Morningstar less because I'm like, there's this tension of her not knowing that he's a red in a Morningstar or in Golden Sun, and now like she knows, and then that's like kind of resolved. But now we have this just like this constant like, oh, there's a new reason for will they or won't they? Like she's with Cassius in the beginning of Golden Sun. Now she's like found out he's a red, and it's just like, you guys like each other. Everyone knows you like each other. You do trust each other. And you're so boring together when you're so like serious and just looking at each other like, I know I have feelings for them, but we have a mission. It's just like, oh, just fuck. Like,
I don't disagree. I hope if it ever becomes adapted, that's the thing that they spice up a little more.
like they could flirt more because like they're just so boring together. Like absolute snooze. Like Victor and Severo having good times. Like, that sounds like fun, but Darrow and Mustang are just so dour. It's like, you deserve each other.
All their head is in is this rebellion and what to build afterwards and all of that.
Well, I really like seeing Mustang with the Telemonases because mostly we see Mustang with Darrow, and when she's with Darrow, she's like super serious Mustang, and it's just like, okay, you're smart and you're hot, but whatever. But when she's with the Telemonases, she's like a human being who like smiles and laughs and gets drunk, and you're like, oh, okay, so like, you're like she was actually a fun person.
Yeah, like when she was telling stories with Darrow's family too, with the Telemonases, that was a really great scene with Mustang. That's way back in part 2, but yeah, that was a really good moment. And it's really fun to see. And this time it's like, oh, you told Darrow's mom you had a kid, and you're still not telling Darrow.
Which I feel like if that reveal wasn't at the end of the book, if it was in the middle, Darrow would be so mad at all of them for keeping a secret from him.
Poor Darrow is never allowed, like, even remotely allowed to think about any agency in his parental status. At any point.
This is the second he has a type, women that lie about having a kid.
I mean, just to be told, like, he doesn't have a say in what happens to the kid, but I feel bad for the man.
And like, if it happened in the middle of the book, I feel like Darrow would have been like, Mustang, you went to war even though you knew you had a kid. You didn't trust me to go to war, even if I know I have a kid. Like, screw you.
But in this case, she did it because his mom told her that he wouldn't be able to make the decisions he would have had to make, which I think is a big call on her mom's part. It's like, how do you know what Darrow the Warlord is like? Like, how do you know him? Like, you know Darrow the Helldiver.
He's her son.
And
mothers always know.
I liked better the explanation that, like, I needed to know that you would change for yourself, not for a kid. That she's like, I needed to know that you would want to build a new world, but not because you knew you had a kid. That makes sense to me. But when it's like, oh, I didn't think you could go to war and like do a warlord thing if you knew you had a kid, I was like, no, that's infantilizing him. I don't like that. But testing him to see if he's actually going to be a good man for the right reasons, as opposed to like, oh, I got a kid. Oh, I guess I better make the world a better place instead of just wanting to make the world. Like, that's kind of legit.
I mean, she's kind of always said that about him.
Like, I think poor Darrow should have gotten a tiny bit more trust by both of those women. just a little.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
I mean, it's fine. Like, it obviously worked out, but it's just like, you guys are giving this man no credit. Like, zero credit.
Darrow really should have been like, again with the lying about having a kid.
At least she didn't die. Because then it would have been like, really? Again?
Oh, gosh.
Can you imagine? And then the Telemonas is telling me, yeah, she was pregnant, but she decided to martyr herself. And Darrow's like...
Twice in 5 years?
I'm cursed.
Wait, who was the Telemonas that got captured twice in this book? Because they called him like the damsel in distress or something like
Kravix.
That. Yeah. I enjoyed that.
Also hiding the jelly beans on Darrow just all the time. Oh, Sophocles, what's that you found there? Oh. It's your favorite flavor, watermelon.
I'm so sad because if we ever did get an adaptation, it would probably be live action, even though I don't want it. And they're going to CGI Sophocles so poorly.
Just make him like Rocket.
They'll do it well.
Just make him like Rocket.
Rocket comes with a huge budget.
The demons.
True, but part of that budget is Bradley Cooper. So the
demons in his Dark Materials look okay.
Yeah, but you notice you get less of them because they can only do it so often.
Yeah, but Sophocles isn't in it that much. They can
I guess. So we need BBC to do it. That's what I'm hearing because that was.
You know what I really didn't? You know what I really didn't need was Kravik's open mouth kissing Sophocles.
Kravix is every dog owner when they don't notice that they're in public with their dog. Dog owners are weird to me. I'm a cat person. I don't let my cats kiss me on the mouth.
I mean, yeah, it's
pretty gross.
understandable.
No, their breaths smell really bad. HBO, please. It depends. HBO right now is making bad decisions. Like they're not HBO anymore because that made sense.
But they have the budget to make, good CGI.
But also, okay, we say that, but I still don't like the Dire Wolves in A Song of Ice and Fire's adaptation. Those weren't very good.
But again, they did the demons and they looked good.
No, they didn't. That was BBC. That's what I'm saying. HBO brought it over, but I
think HBO
BBC.
also funded it.
Maybe they did, but it was primarily that's the only reason it got a third season.
I think that's the same as like Netflix and Peaky Blinders. That originally Peaky Blinders was a British show, but then Netflix also like co-funded it that's why it gets to be a Netflix original.
I guess I'm just saying that the animation team is not an HBO animation team, even if they did fund it. I'm pretty sure it would have been a different one. Like the people who are doing the CGI drawings and all of that. That's my assumption.
Oh, God. I hate everything.
This is Leanna's dream.
Those are some words.
those were words.
Those are words in a sentence.
Where were we in the plot, Alex? Since you're better at this with your notes.
Well, aren't we at the end of it now? I mean,
we were at Antonia being in a cell with Thistle, and me being like, Mustang is too smart to let this happen, and then
Thistle gets the shit killed out of her,
and then Victor beats the shit out of Antonio.
Which is like, get her, girl.
Thistle's very dead now.
Break her face.
Very, very dead. And Antonia's ugly now because her entire personality was being hot.
Which also, how much did we enjoy Octavia being like, tell me again what you did during the war. Oh, yes. Execute her. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no,
exactly
that was very satisfying. Oh, but also before that, how disgusting Jackal kissing her is. Like, I just don't like that at all.
Well, it's extra disgusting because in Darrow's head, Darrow's like, yeah, Virginia's right. We're just sacks of meat to him. And you're like,
really gross. Really, really, yep, not great. Not ideal.
And I love, so like, basically, I think one of the best things Pierce Brown has done is written Adrius to constantly be actually like chillingly, because like that could get cartoonish really fast. We're like, yeah, he's a scary villain, but he's chilling every time. And when Virginia tells the story of their childhood, where like he's like making these like, he's like, oh, it's fine that you beat me, whatever. And then she'd see him in his bedroom like beating himself because she beat him. Like it's so chilling.
Yeah,
dude had it rough, man. I mean, go back to when he killed his dad,
but also
book 2.
like,
yes, it's not a free pass, but his dad literally left him to die as a baby. Like he's had it rough since the jump.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the difference between Adrius and Tactus, where like Tactus has also had it rough, but you're like, you can see the core of humanity there. That's why Darrow was like, I can save him. But Adrius, you're like, you had also, for all the like bad stuff you had, because Virginia had most of that as well. You also had people that cared about you and were rooting for you. And
whatever humanity Adrius had is gone. Like,
we get the reveal that he actually killed Quinn, which is big.
Yep.
Yeah, I remembered that he'd killed her, and then in Golden Sun, when that didn't get revealed, I was like, did I make that up? I thought he killed Quinn.
Well, yeah, there it is. But I like how we work with Adrius as like a character because, yes, we have a sympathetic backstory to him, like rough childhood, but he also kind of is just evil. Like he just kind of is. And I think sometimes nowadays we have too much, they're evil because of, which is fine. Like that's not bad, but like we have that a lot these days. And this is like, we're not rationalizing it. This person is just a disturbed individual, very self-centered and selfish, and they do evil deeds to obtain what they want.
Yeah, like I guess I would say I think Tactus was evil because of. I think Adrius just, I don't think there was any world in which, like he just, maybe in a different world, he didn't have the resources to do the kind of damage that he does. Like if you weren't rich, you couldn't just like literally wouldn't be able to do those things. So he had the privilege to do it. But there's no universe, no matter who raised him, he wasn't going to turn out like a great guy.
Adrius likes being what he is. Like I don't think there's any secret. Like he enjoys who he is now. He's just a psycho.
Correct.
It's true. He is. He's crazy. He can't change it. He's just unhinged.
Well, then we get the message from Adrius where he kills Uncle Narl. Is that how we say it? Narl? Gnarl? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Narl. And then we go back to the ship. We have the hanging scene we just talked about. And now there's the whole secrets. We're going to Mars. Are we not going to Mars? We find out we're going to Luna.
Yeah.
And now we're at the end of the book that we've talked about the majority of the live. So here we are. I still don't know how I feel about Mustang taking over. Like, I understand why it has to happen, but I kind of wish we had talked about it, thought about it, addressed it anywhere before this point in the story.
Well, they kind of did, because
Darrow's
every
not gonna do
time
it.
Darrow was asked or would think about like what comes after rebelling, what comes after you break everything, he's like, well, Mustang. That's the plan. My plan is Mustang. So like that was the plan.
It just it's one of those things where it's like, I can understand why things are very difficult in Iron, Gold, and Dark Age. We're just having another gold in charge. And
Does anyone else feel like, I still don't really get how she got the nickname Mustang, and I still don't get why we still use it. Like, it's very weird to me that she's called Mustang throughout the series.
I mean, it's because
I don't
she
remember the
rode
reasoning.
the horse, and everyone was just calling people things based off what they were holding or doing at
But
the
then
time.
they stopped calling them those things when they learned their names. Like, people didn't
Mhm.
keep calling Severo Goblin. Once in a while, they'll be like, oh, he's a goblin. But mostly they call him Severo. Like, they
I
really
honestly-
actively call her Mustang, which is weird.
I don't know. I call her Mustang. I don't like Virginia. I don't like that she's
I
named.
feel like that's it. I feel like Pierce Brown regretted naming her Virginia and was like, sticking with Mustang.
Like, I just don't like Virginia as a name for her. I don't know. Naming people after states is weird. Like, I don't like it.
Well, we named the state after the queen.
Sure, but I live where I am now. Also, this is my cat's tail.
Oh, I thought it was
My cat's
yours.
tail.
I'm glad you clarified.
Well, you
Yeah,
know. I don't have any other thoughts off the top of my head right now. But I think that was just a thing that always was weird to me. Like, it made sense. Like, obviously, you want a quick transition of power. That's the easiest path. And she has the best heart of all the golds we have. So we're lucky there is a Mustang.
She has the best
For sure.
head.
I think it's honestly her heart that carries her more than her head. Because, again, I think we're lying to ourselves that she's this intelligent. Like, she's not dumb. But I don't think she's that smart.
Don't tell Darrow that you said that.
Well, it's like how Darrow's smart, but we're not sure if he's smart. Like, I don't like.
But
He's
Darrow
smart. He's smart
Darrow will be
sometimes,
like,
and
"Oh,
when
I'm
it
not as
facilitates
smart
the
as-"
plot.
But Darrow will be like, I'm not like, and Mustang is like also acknowledge like thinks that she's smart. She's like, Adrius is smarter than you, Darrow. Adrius is even smarter than me. You're like, oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think intelligence is weird in this. Oh, I know something we haven't really talked about. We haven't really talked about Cassius that much. Like, and his redemption arc.
Yes, my
There we-
boy.
Wow.
I love his redemption arc.
He's
I
got a
mean,
good redemption arc.
You see the seeds of it in the very beginning when he's the only person at the table. Like, dude, like cover him up with a cloak at least, you animals. Like,
I loved when him and Darrow got to watch like old Institute film that was in Roke's cabin.
yeah,
I thought that was really sweet.
put the bro out together.
I think Cassius is Cassius is way better of a foil than Roke, and we just got Roke in book 2, so like, I think that's the problem.
Roke's gone, so
I know, we just have
It's
Cassius
okay.
now.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Cassius and what's his face, Lysander, are gonna be Batman and Robin in the Rim.
Fucking Lysander. Hate that piece of shit.
We don't hate him yet.
I hate
He's
him
just
and his
a little
stupid little
boy.
face. I hate him.
I forget you're Severo.
And his
and you really wanna
curiosity.
kill him.
I feel like at the end when he's like, here, Mustang, you're in charge now. Here's the stick of power. You're like,
Like, he's so
okay.
quick on his feet. It's like, you need to talk to my grandfather right now. He'll help. And like, because I feel like at the end there, we're really like, how do we, like, I feel like at that moment, Pierce Brown's like, so how do I write myself out of this nuclear?
Okay, so yeah,
the child
so hold on.
knows.
Let's talk about some of that because now we're talking about nukes again. Well, the fact that I love now that we're past the dumb like Darrow didn't know what was going on moment, and you get the cool nod to Cassius, and Darrow starts howling, and then Cassius like, yep, that's the signal, and like cuts down all the guards, and they have the fight, and then he wakes up Severo, and Severo's like, what the fuck, like springs up from his slumber. That whole scene was awesome, but then the learning that Adrius like 4D chessed this whole thing where like he has what's her name out on a ship somewhere. Like the whole like nuke stuff. I was like, why would you have set this up? Like, why was
Well,
that your
he wanted
plan?
it to be sovereign after Darrow was taken care of, so
Sure.
he put the nukes in to be like, I just don't understand why he wouldn't just immediately become sovereign without waiting for
Yeah.
Darrow to be taken care of. I guess it's a good
Yeah.
trap, but not really. But that's the reason, is because he's just letting her be sovereign until Darrow's dead. But what I was thinking is, if this is the big plan, right? And this was the plan, and we're gonna
Mhm.
fake kill Severo, and Cassius is in on it. I don't understand how it's such a great advantage to have your like the secret you have up your sleeve in this room is that Severo's actually alive. Okay, so you have one more person on your side. Like that's your big like secret weapon. Wake up this guy who's like fuck, and he's like, okay, so one more person, and now Darrow doesn't have a hand. Like, was it worth it? Like, just
Well,
sneak
now
him
he
in
can
there
have a cool
and
fake
wake
hand.
him up again. It's like, couldn't he have also been taken prisoner the same as Darrow and Mustang? Like, how is it that big an advantage to have him be fake dead until the moment when you're like, I'm alive? It's like, how is that super useful to you?
You
I
just
think
don't get it.
I think him being dead is what proves that Cassius is on their side. I think that's like the big moment of like they don't question if he's been turned or not. But I don't know why they would question that anyways. Like I know why we do, because we know
Yeah.
about these
I mean,
moments.
they could have fake injured him, so he's like appears to be bleeding, but
Fair. I mean, I think we're erring on the side of cool and drama. Like I think
like
we're
it would have made more sense if like if getting in the room, like if everyone thinks Severo is dead and so no one's paying attention to what he's doing, and that's what gives Severo the advantage to go and do something because no one is looking at a dead body, so he's
Yeah.
gonna go and do something now. But instead it's like, let me go over there and wake him up. It's like, how is it helpful to you to have
Because
to do
it's
this?
cool and Severo's awesome, and now he's up and he can fight.
This is true. We had a bomb necklace for so long and we've never used it. Like, we've had one. I don't know what happened to it, but I mean, he's been kidnapped so many times at this point. Like, I don't know.
He lost it. It fell down the drain in the shower.
It's in the Viking ice wasteland somewhere. I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know where it is.
It's a
After
setup for book
Ragnar-
6. It's in somebody's shower drain that we didn't actually know that he showered in their house, and it's been a plant the whole time. and
It's gonna come
explode.
into play in Lightbringer, I'm sure.
Exactly.
After Ragnar dies, I miss having bolded text in my book.
That's true.
I don't know why all
It's
the
okay,
other
you get more.
Obsidians don't get bolded text.
Well, one does.
Not in this book.
I know it's not in this book. I'm
Why
just
doesn't
saying.
Sephi get bolded text? That's sexist.
I think it's because she's
Exactly.
exactly quiet. I think her
Exactly.
name is.
She should be like small italicized, like smaller font than everything else. Everyone's like, what?
And it's like, it's not, the ink is like a little gray, so it's like hard, it's like faint.
Literally fading.
I just think everyone in this society is just really good at learning, though. I get really impressed every time someone goes through like a training montage, and it's like, oh, all the years these other people have trained, you've done in like 5 months. Like all the Obsidian learned all of these new technologies and strategies in like months.
We can also, the Obsidians, like, why they're gray, but we already have grays. So, but like they're not the color that we're saying they are, like everyone else is.
No, they're actually very pale.
And like their hair is like white and stuff. I'm like, why are you called Obsidian? I don't think you know what Obsidian is, Pierce Brown.
He might not.
You keep using that word. I do not think it means
Should we have done marble? Should we have done marble instead?
I don't know. There's like, or actually make them. Oh, you can't have them actually be black. Like,
I assume that maybe he thought about that, and then I think there are probably two trains of thoughts. One, if you do put them in like a cold region like that, they could be tan probably, but normally people aren't that low on melanin in those regions, right? Because you need to have.
They've been genetically modified to be this way. This is not
sure, but like I think also he didn't want to have slaves be black. I think he wanted to avoid.
Right, but then why call them Obsidian?
Like I think.
True.
I'll be honest, I thought Obsidians were black because I don't visualize when I read, because they're called Obsidians, and I'm like, oh,
there is
they're
artwork
not.
of them though. Yeah. There is artwork. They're just like giant pale Vikings.
Oh, I know what they look
gray.
like now. I play the Red Rising card game all the time. I now know what everyone looks like. But Red Rising card game is probably also huge spoilers for who like gets paired up with who in terms of like card combos.
But who's buying the Red Rising card game and hasn't read the books?
Some people
He's like,
so
oh, I might be a fan of this someday.
Well, okay. Some people actually really did because it's a very popular board game publisher who has some of the most popular board games. So some people just love that publisher and buy everything they do. But this one was not that popular because it is just an okay card game. It's a good card game, but it's only okay. So
I'll take your word for it.
I used to watch a lot of board gaming YouTube before BookTube. So
Sounds thrilling.
enough.
it does. You want to know there is a part of YouTube that gets less views than BookTube. There is a part.
So you went for the big leagues when you decided to go with BookTube.
It was honestly just cheaper. That's the thing. Board game BookTube is also more expensive to do because you need a way better camera setup and everything, so you can like show games and stuff like that.
That's true.
It's way
I was
cheaper
thinking
to do
you were
BookTube.
saying it's more expensive to buy board games, and I was like, books are so cheap. Yeah.
Well, it is like a board game on average is $60 to $80.
We don't all have to buy 18 different editions of. Yeah. They could be cheap.
Yeah. No, I mean I like the Obsidians. I don't dislike their existence in the books. I mean, it's at
But
least
do
if
you
I'm
reject the very premise of them?
I don't. I don't. I think they're fun.
I
They're
agree.
fun. They're just a fun little X factor. Anything else with the ending? We've got Cassius we've talked about. We have the nuclear bombs. The jackal is finally dead. I did think
But
it
he
was
got his tongue ripped out so he couldn't have any last words.
Yeah.
Got him.
God, that was kind of a gross scene. You can tell he's getting ready.
It was a gross scene, but mostly I was like, you said he ripped his tongue out? Like, it's pretty wet and slippery. Like, how? How did you keep a grip on it?
Leanna, his hands are magic.
But you know what I mean? I'm just like, yeah, if you got a clamp
He had a very
on it,
large tongue, and he wrapped it around his hand.
Ugh. I don't want this to happen.
His tongue was the
anymore.
length of Severus' toenails.
Ooh, I don't like any of this. Okay, so he no longer has a tongue. He gets hung, and I think it's really nice that Darrow encourages Mustang to pull his legs because I just think that
actually, I kind of laughed at that because like Mustang's, he's like, oh, Mustang's like the only person that actually cares about Adrius. So he kind of like nudges her to be like, it's okay, honey. But he's nudging her to go and pull the legs of her dying brother. It's like, you got this, honey. I feel like it'd be nice to be like, I'll do this for you so you don't have to. But he's like, go ahead, go kill your brother. Like,
we know culturally speaking, this is like a sign of caring for a loved one.
It is for the Reds. It isn't for the Golds.
I don't know, man. But coming from Darrow's brain, in his head it was sweet, so it translated to me as sweet.
I don't think this is as sweet as you think it is. Like, if he had been like, I'll do it together. If he was like, let me go with you, because no one else cares about Adrius. So if he was like, I'll go with you, and we can each like take one of his feet. But instead he's like, you got this, honey.
Fair. There's a different way to read every scene.
Just deep down, he just wanted the daughter of the guy that killed his wife to kill his biggest enemy. That's all.
Also, Leanna, do you know if Pierce Brown's read the Hyperion Cantos?
I think he has, but I don't know for sure.
Because for me, a lot of it reminds me of Hyperion Cantos, but more in like vibes than anything else. I just like, whenever I read this, I'm always like, wait, Earth is something you can live on? Because in Hyperion Cantos, you can't live on Earth. And then you guys haven't, well, I don't know how much you've read of it, Alex, but Leanne, I know you haven't read Elysium yet. But like in those, there's a character that reminds me a lot of Mustang and also like the idea of a child. And I'm just like, I keep mixing up the plot points. So I feel like there might be inspiration, but I could be wrong.
Oh, have you guys seen RRR?
Yes.
Because I just watched that last night with my brother, and we were like, this is Red Rising. There's so many like plot points. And so we just started naming the characters, like that guy's Darrow. That's his Mustang. That right there, that would be his, that's Titus.
Well, I mean, that's because like this trilogy is like that. This is textbook rebellion trilogy. They're all like this.
But there are like specifics about like the like secret infiltration and about the who's doing what to who that we were like, this is Red Rising.
Is this true? I actually have no clue. Okay, because god damn it, if there's more John
Matt
Keats
hasn't read Dark Age.
I hope so, because I hate John Keats. Evie's not here, so I can say it. I just get really annoyed. It's like if you're gonna put an old writer in your text, Shakespeare's right there. Stop this. I don't understand. Okay. Alrighty. I don't have any other thoughts, so somebody else fill the silence.
I
Well,
cried
we
a little
have,
bit the first time I read that Darrow had a baby. The first
Hey.
time around when I read it, I teared up. I was like, "Aw, he's got a little
but not
baby."
this time.
No, this time I was like, "Fuck this kid."
That is true. It's fucking facts.
Giveaway.
I said, "I reject your existence, sir."
Oh yeah, we need to give away the gift from last time, and then we need to give people a question for this one. All right, let's do the giveaway first, Leanna. You gotta
Wait,
hold
guys,
the
I
name.
assumed that Alex wouldn't. I wrote down who entered from Alex's comments. Was
I
right?
win. I'm the winner. How dare you even assume that?
As a Severo fangirl, I thought it would be out of character for you to.
That's true.
So last time, what did we do? Pick a number between. Pick a number between 1 and 9.
Okay. I did.
Okay.
Oh, you 3.
Do you concur, Severo fangirl? Is 3 your choice, or do you want to?
3 is a terrible number. I'm gonna go
Let's
6.
pick a different one.
I'm just kidding. 3's fine.
All right. Well, 3 is the same person that won the first giveaway.
That's amazing.
So
Really great, actually. Good job.
But so for this giveaway, so everyone enter. Anyone can enter. Please give us your Instagram handle if you're entering, so we can contact you for shipping. But what is the question? Whose existence do we reject?
You can't say
we're fine with the
I contain multitudes.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, we can't. It can be the question: whose existence does Leanna reject? I think that's fine.
We should say which race of people in this world.
Who is Leanna colorist against?
All right, I'll put that in as a pinned comment. Something like that. I don't think I'll do the colorist phrasing of it. I
appreciate it. People hate me enough as it is on the internet. And then
which race does Leanna reject?
And then, like last time, you have until our Iron Gold chat to enter.
Yep. Yeah. Also, this was my first time listening to the audiobooks for this book.
They're not bad.
I reject the audiobooks.
I actually thought it was fine. Like, I mean, I think if I'd given myself more time to read it, I probably still would have preferred my own internal voice for like Darrow and Victra and everything.
He's too old.
He is.
I'm also ageist.
Well, fair. Is he the same voice for Darrow? I know we have multiple narrators for Iron Gold.
He's still Darrow.
Well, he'll be good for older Darrow.
I guess that I like that. The audiobooks for the new books I object to less because his age is a little more appropriate. He's still too old to be 30-year-old Darrow, but okay, I'll take it. And then also it's not the only one. I have other narrators, so like I'm okay with the new audiobooks. But when it's just him being 16-year-old Darrow, Grandpa of Ireland, like no.
It's Tim Gerard Reynolds, right? Like that's the narrator. Because he's an awesome narrator. But
no, I really like his narration.
Darrow.
No, I agree. His voice for Darrow is not perfect, but his ability to speed up, slow down, quiet, like he has a very good momentum flow to his narration.
Yeah, I think he's a good narrator generally. Especially if it's like, fantasy and third person, tell you a tale of the olden days. But when he's like in present tense Darrow, and Darrow is saying very like what a 16-year-old would think and say and being like emotional and being boyish, and this man's voice is saying it, you're like, grow up, sir.
No, his accent.
The accent does
change.
change. It does change. Darrow sounds different as a gold versus when he talks red. Yeah, he doesn't have an Irish accent when he's a gold.
But he's always a gold. Like he
literally
became a gold in the first book.
When he's a red.
I don't know what he sounded like in Red Rising, but Darrow doesn't sound like the other Reds because Reds were he did.
Yeah, he sounds more Irish in the beginning of Red Rising.
Yeah.
But I do feel bad because he can't really sing that well. So when he sings the EO song, you're like, that's pitchy.
Yeah.
Not all audiobook narrators do internal monologues remotely accurately. I just listened to a lot of Shadowhunters, and I had British internal monologue for a New York Jewish boy from the Bronx. Like it was a time. This is not the rule.
It's like I'm there.
Oh, the audiobook for the newest Truly Devious book, a lot of that story takes place in England. Like they travel to England in that book. And this has been the same narrator for all the books, but they all took place in America with American characters. And they kept the same narrator, and she cannot do a British accent to save her life. So like all the British accents she was trying to do for the new British characters, I was like, absolutely not. It's not a British accent. What is that?
See, I also was listening
He
to
sings
this.
it multiple times too.
Yeah, I was listening to this at 3 times speed, so the
Oh,
song
God.
goes by very fast. Well, because I was listening to it while I was reading it, because I was like, how am I going to finish this book in time?
Be like me and read it up until the last possible minute.
Tim
I thought I
Gerard
had
Reynolds at
board games
3x
today.
singing EO's song just sounds wild.
He sounds less pitchy when it's sped up because like you can't tell.
Can't notice the flaws.
Well,
Oh,
I also just don't like when people sing in audiobooks. I'm like, this is not
Yeah.
at the time. This is nope. This isn't-
Except for Black Tongue Thief.
sure,
I
I
don't
believe
know.
you, but
I
don't
think they had
I'll-
a different narrator doing the singing. It wasn't the author.
I think part of the problem is since I never listened to audiobooks at 1 time speed, even when I was like only listening at 1.2, I don't like listening to singing at faster than 1 time speed, and I'm not going to change.
Oh, also in Angela's Ashes, because Frank McCourt, it's his memoir and he reads the audiobook. So it's just like him telling the stories that he's written about his own life. So when he's talking about the old Irish songs that his dad would come home drunk singing, and then he like does his impression of his dad drunkenly singing an Irish song, like it feels very like appropriate for him to be singing.
Yeah.
All right, so everyone right now in the live chat, I want you to go to the normal comment section and submit your answer to the question of who Leanna doesn't like the existence
Who Leanna
of.
rejects.
Who Leanna rejects.
Just the existence of them entirely.
Because this is international and we want you all to enter, you especially like people who have been here the entire time, like for all 3 lives. Enter your name and we will pull it from some random generator.
And the items, like I posted on my community tab what the items
really
are.
pretty
It's
pin.
it's a pin and a mug that both are like Sons of Aries.
Yeah, they look really nice. Really high quality stuff.
Mhm.
Do you know if they're dishwasher safe? These are questions I have.
I think some are and some
Please
are
direct
not.
all of these questions to Leah Crafts on Instagram.
I think so, in general, like from the stuff she makes, some things I think are and some are not. I'm not sure about this one.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So.
They just look really cool, so I was just wondering.
And
But-
the pins are not dishwasher safe.
No, I wouldn't do that. Is there Team Gold?
Thank you for clarifying that you don't put pins through the dishwasher.
Well, wait, kind of. I have a mug from her. Hang on 1 second.
I don't know if there's Team Gold merch, Matt. I have no clue. I should put that comment in as a question. Oh my god, why is my phone blowing up? Jesus.
There's this.
Well, that looks like Team Gold merch.
Yeah. Right?
Also,
Does it say it's dishwasher safe?
Evie, get out of here.
to give me the strength and courage to get through. I mean, I am wearing a Howler shirt.
So you
but I was
summoned
wearing
Evie
my
when
sigil socks
when you made
today.
your comment. See, there you
Matt,
go.
well, that's awesome. Matt betrayed us. Matt is why Evie's here.
Well,
Oh, okay. Never mind, Matt. I take it back. You didn't summon Evie.
I thought you summoned her.
I did not.
You
well, I
said
didn't-
she's not here. I can say what I want, and then
That's
she
true.
appeared before us.
Evie, I wasn't saying anything bad about you. Just maybe your favorite poet. All right. But I mean, I really enjoyed rereading this trilogy. I
Mhm.
did think I learned for myself that for rereadability, it's not as strong for me, even though it's still a fun time. Because like I truly did forget a lot, but it wasn't as emotionally impactful.
Golden
what I
Sun
remember from my
still
first read.
slaps. Golden Sun is
Oh, God, don't say
amazing.
it. Don't say
That
slaps.
is a
That sounded so.
fact.
That sounded so not correct. You saying Golden Sun still slaps just didn't sound right.
You reject it.
I reject your. I reject that
We
whole
need to
sentence.
change the paradigm, you know.
Try again. Use another word.
Golden Sun is most excellent.
Here we go. Some Bill and Ted.
Was that
Gold-
high lingo enough for you?
Yes, most excellent.
Regardless, I still would love an adaptation of this trilogy, even if they never continued on. Because I do think the next quartet is probably harder to adapt because
Yeah, for sure.
it's definitely more of a book project. But this could be such a good mini
Excuse me?
series.
Why?
Alex knew what I meant. It'd be difficult. I'm not saying they couldn't, but things make
I don't think it would be
possible.
difficult. I think it would cost a shit ton more money though.
And
Yeah,
it would
but
have
I think if they did make a show and they'd done the first 3 and it was really popular, they'd be like, hell yeah, we're doing the rest. But if it wasn't
Yeah.
popular,
well, and like it depends on who picks it up, right? Because some studios are more willing to give things time than others.
I mean,
right?
Game of
Yeah.
Thrones wasn't cheap.
No, yes, HBO typically has let shows go longer until Discovery / Warner Brothers has been messing around with stuff. Like,
Yeah.
they've typically been better at that than other studios, and Amazon doesn't care because they just make all their money off of shipping, so they just do what they want. But they don't make good things, so you don't want them to be picked up by
That's not
Amazon.
true, though. Good Omens is Amazon.
Good Omens is again PBC first, though, so again, it's not the same creative team as Amazon people. I'm just saying, you're right.
Carnival
they fund
Row.
It. I actually do want to kind of watch Carnival Row, and
I love
Invincible's
Carnival
really good. I like Invincible and The Boys.
And The Boys.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did. And I only watched the first season, but I really enjoyed Man in the High Castle.
I'm curious about that one,
never saw
but
it.
Philip K. Dick has a weird brain, so I don't know how else.
Oh, the show is really different from the book. They're almost like the
K.
basic
Dick is
premise
wild.
of it's an alternate history is the same, but it's almost entirely different.
I mean, that's what they kind of did with the first Blade Runner, so I'm not surprised. Yup. Okay. We're going to talk about Iron Gold in like a month. I think it's Leanna's channel. Unless you want Dark Age. In that case, we can make Alex have Iron Gold. I don't really know.
Well,
I'll
we'll
take
figure
Iron
it out.
I'll take Iron Gold. We'll give her Dark Age. That
We'll give Leanna Dark Age.
That just means Lightbringer's not on her channel.
I guess that means it's on my channel for better or worse, but
It's fine. I think Dark Age is my favorite, so I will claim Dark Age.
That's
Okay.
fine.
Lightbringer is a wild card.
we don't know yet about Lightbringer. I did request
But it's got a
art.
horse on the front of it, so
It makes
So it's
Yeah.
Mustang. It's about Mustang.
exactly.
I need more
Does that
Mustang.
mean Mustang's gonna die? Maybe she's
Darrow's
already dead. What? Darrow's gonna-
Darrow's gonna kill Mustang, and then Sevro's gonna kill Darrow, and then Victor's gonna kill Sevro, and then
Darrow
Pax will
was-
kill.
Darrow was the Mustang the whole time.
Someone was asking for Lightbringer predictions, so here they are in all of their glory.
I reject Leanna's actual predictions that she's been telling me for.
Those
2
were
years.
not too far off from my actual predictions.
I know, and I'm sure what you're saying might actually happen, and it's gonna bug me to my end.
Do we know how long Lightbringer is going to be? How many pages?
This many.
No.
It was long enough that he had to make another book. And he
But I just
threw
meant,
it-
do we know if it's 700 or 900? That's very different.
Did I say this before when, like, during our other chats, that every time I hear the title for the one that comes after Lightbringer, I get the Eminem song "Rap God" stuck in my head because it sounds like the
Red
same.
God. I mean, it's close enough. It's Red God and Rap God, I guess.
Like I start like, but it's like becomes Red God in my head, like the song, where it's like the same song, but instead of saying I feel like a rap god, you say I feel like a red
so
god.
Leanna just starts rapping every time she reads Red God. Okay, got
I'm just losing my mind.
it.
Maybe a little. Also, I dislike the title Lightbringer. I'm sure it makes sense, but it's one of the most generic speculative.
Well,
fiction.
I don't like Red God
I
either.
think it's annoying that Morning Star and Lightbringer are both like these Lucifer references as the third book of their respective trilogies.
So then what's Red God?
The extra one.
Also, I just looked it up. The hardback is 700 pages.
Sick.
That's actually not as bad as I thought it would
Isn't
be.
that
so
Dark Age was like right around there, right? Or 800?
I felt like
I think Dark Age
never
was like
ended.
6 something.
I think it also
Huh.
depended. I think the UK edition of Dark Age was slightly longer.
Usually because they have shorter pages
Maybe.
sometimes. But this is based off Amazon's page count, so take that with, every grain of salt, I guess.
Well, Amazon
no,
hates books, so
they do. It's a
It's
fact.
legit. When anytime like mentions that Amazon started as a bookseller, I'm always like, oh my god, they did, huh?
Yep.
So crazy. Now it's
Netflix
like, oh,
used
I
to-
also have books from Amazon.
and now they closed down Book Depository.
And
They hate
Netflix used to
books.
give people DVDs, and they're
And
stopping
they
that.
just closed that too. It's the end
I
of
mean,
an era.
I haven't used the DVD in years.
I have my great aunt does this all the time. Like every Saturday, she watches her Netflix DVD and sends it and gets a new one.
That's
and
adorable.
it's adorable, and no one's told
And
her.
now
to
she
stop.
can't ever do it again.
Hornblower isn't streamable anywhere, so I have Hornblower DVDs.
I don't know
so
what that
can
is.
watch. Horatio
Um,
Hornblower?
No, I still don't know what it is.
No idea. I was just gonna let it happen. Just gonna let Leanna say this. Also, Dark
Do you
Age is-
also not know what Horatio Hornblower is?
No,
Ugh, why am I here?
I don't know.
You know who does know who Horatio Hornblower is? Pierce Brown.
Pierce Brown.
That's my people. I actually do know that for a fact because like during an Instagram like live where he was like doing an Ask Me Anything during the pandemic because he was bored out of his mind and was like, let's do an Ask Me Anything. And I don't know why it came up, but someone was talking about the actor from Horatio Hornblower, and that's how he was referred to, and was like, oh yeah, the guy from Horatio Hornblower. What was that guy's name? Like, so anyway, I'm just saying he does actually know.
Cool. Well, Dark Age was
You
100
get it,
pages
Leanna.
longer than
You know
Lightbringer.
Pierce Brown. You guys are best buds.
If we were best buds, I would have told him to do things differently
Yikes.
in respect to Obsidians.
Just the Obsidians, just no.
Leanna, use your clout to get him on our last live show. We can ask him all the questions.
if he gets like not saying this is happening, but if such an invitation were to be made and he was like, let me go watch their previous lives to see if this is something that I would like to subject myself to, the answer will be no.
You don't know that. All publicity is good publicity. Oh, here, someone else knows who this person is.
There's several someones. Evie knows, Matt knows, Arliss knows.
Okay, well,
Robin knows. Everyone except you guys know.
Well, we're not good friends. Sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
Shame.
It is what it is.
You uncultured
accept my
swine.
It's true.
I am the gold and you are just reds.
I think I'd be would I be a green? I don't know what color I would be. Have we done that yet? Have we
I
decided
don't remember what
our
greens
colors?
even do.
They're computer
Are they
hackers.
books? Okay.
No. Like greens and blues are more analytical, and I don't know which of those I would be, but I'd probably be one of those.
Well, aren't blues just like pilots?
Yeah, but they do use a lot of engineering stuff. I don't know. Although probably copper if I was a higher color, because I really do like organizing and bookkeeping. But yeah. Wait. Okay, there you go. Any other remotely related thoughts to this read along?
Definitely not.
Okay. Keep an eye on all of our channels. I'm pretty sure the next one will be on Alex's, but just keep an eye out. We'll all post about it on our community tabs and Instagrams and stuff like that. And thanks for joining us, and good night.
Bye.